Let's do a Christmas horror story.
All right. So this one obviously starts with like the snowflakes as the main screen for the music thing, which I quite like that considering like that Russian, not Russian, that Ukrainian folk song that harken the bells, but in like different lyric form.
Hmm.
More to do with like the horror theme, which I quite like the lyric change.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we go straight into like a snowy sort of. Well, we go straight into the North Pole where it's very snowy, and then we go straight into like the fact that the gates are shaking. But then we go manage to go through the gates and there's Santa Claus. Oh, Blitzen, come on, Blitzen! And then obviously this is like 12 minutes after what's to come. So then we all obviously go into 12 hours beforehand. But before that, we go into seeing our little friend William Shatner.
Yeah. I love his character of kind of being the in-between segments of this radio host.
Kind of like a narrator in a way too, which in a way this sort of radio host part it does bring back bad candy.
Yes, yeah.
I think the majority of these ones from like 2015 plus are more to do with radio hosts. Which I do like. I do like. I love the concept. But as we've got here, we've got four different. We haven't got like stories. Well, technically, like 5 to 10 minute short films in this. We've only got four segments that build in their way together.
It's kind of like Trick or Treat, where throughout the whole movie it is an anthology, but we're really getting to see different stories that are all happening within the same area, and some of them kind of converge a little bit.
Yeah. So we've got like this haunted house segment. Well, technically not a house, but it's
The
inside
school.
the school. We've also got this family that go to collect a Christmas tree that ends up having some sort of creature that crawls into their son or
Mhm.
changes into some sort of creature that ends up being inside the sun. Then we've also got the Santa one, and then there's the fourth one. Which do you want to say what the fourth one is?
Yeah, that's the family that's going to visit the aunt's house.
It's probably my favorite one out of the lot. But then after we go straight into the Shatner, we go straight into the part where we see like a police guard that's in the old school where he's like trying to search a way around where the events have happened, comes across the writing, goes all the way back, and then the body starts dangling down, which is the only thing that I think made me jump in this movie, even though I
Oh
was.
yeah, we get a little bit of the backstory for the kids that are checking out the school as to what happened in the basement of the school.
And then we go into like the next part, which if you want to say a bit more into this before I say a bit more into this, so then obviously,
Well, why don't we, instead of going through the whole film, why don't we go kind of like segment by segment,
oh, okay,
like what happens with each story type of thing.
oh, fair enough. I was gonna say I quite like doing it that way. I mean, it just feels like that's what it's because it's what I'm used to us doing. It's because like we don't normally go by segments. So segment one, obviously, forget about the William Shatner part for now. But segment one, we'll go with the haunted school because that's technically the first one that we come across.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got this Security guard that's comes across this abandoned school, figures its way across, and obviously this is shook him up, and obviously he no longer does the job. So then these children decide to do it themselves.
Yeah,
Uh,
because they're trying to do the classic. We're gonna film a documentary about this.
and this is the day before Christmas. I don't know any other children that think, you know what the ideal part is? Why don't we go into school on Christmas Eve? Yeah, like that's an ordinary part. We'll go into school on the Christmas Eve. You kids are weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because they show up there, and then for some reason, also the principal is there
Yeah,
that same day. Which it's like, who in the world is at a school on Christmas Eve?
and he says, "Oh, they're gonna make me jump." Um, so then obviously they go we go across and then hide and go through this door, which leads to the basement of the school, which is where this sort of thing happens, like years and years ago. And we get to see each room. And apparently, one rooms is where a 15-year-old gives birth, and then there's other rooms do different things. We come across like a room where there's these weird statues, like type things. Do we call them statues? They're like ornaments or
Mannequins. I think
mannequins.
yeah, it's basically the nativity scene. Although I guess it you could describe it as that, but I mean it's really just mannequins that are dressed up as the nativity characters. So it doesn't even look all that Christmassy.
That's why I was like trying to like think, do I call it mannequins? Do I call it dolls? Do I call then we've got another room which is the one that uh we end up seeing later on in this segment where you've got the lass that's obviously trying to lead on to the Asian guy. Obviously, he rejects her because he's got a partner, and
Which
then
good on him.
yeah,
Like that rarely happens in horror movies. Usually it's just
just
like,
think, oh,
oh,
I'll
my
give
girlfriend's
it
not
a
here. I guess I can do this anyway.
fuck. Maybe you can just give it a bit of oral. I won't say anything else, but yeah, that's a bit fine. Yeah, got standards. Heads or tails. And then obviously he rejects her. Then she decides to go to someone else, which is the other lad. They end up having sex, and then soon afterwards she ends up waking up and thinking, "Well, I didn't consent to this. You literally just shagged him. You wanted to have sex with him. You can't just say, well, I wasn't in this." And then obviously the ghost ends up rubbing her belly. You're gonna have his baby. Or you're gonna have my baby, should I say? Which was a bit of a weird thing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like from what I can understand. So, okay, so the basement of the school at one point was originally the facility where they would put supposedly crazy women, which apparently also included women that were going to have children out of wedlock.
Yes.
Um, and so this original girl gave herself an abortion because she was going crazy in this facility. And so now that she's a ghost, I guess the concept is that if she can manage to, while possessed, get another girl pregnant, then she can somehow pass on the ability for her unborn child to be born into the world.
And then we even come across the scene technically where you've got the sisters slash the religious people helping her give birth or have the abortion.
Something like that, yeah. it was a little confusing at times when it came to what happened to the original ghost girl, but it was at least easy enough to understand.
So that was well, there is a lot more to it, but that's basically the whole plot of that segment. Then we'll go into segment two, uh, which is you've got a family that go to visit his auntie, who's a miserable bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those interesting kind of dichotomies because it's like she, the aunt, does seem like a terrible witch, but at the same time, it's this family who all of them seem ungrateful and very much are just there to potentially get money from the aunt.
Did you tell her that we're coming? Well, she'll be happy when she sees me. She doesn't even fucking like you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was not a good choice.
and then obviously go inside. That happens, and the son knocks down Krampus. Bad things happen to you.
Mhm.
You should not damage Krampus. And then they end up going like this. The Christmas tree place, which ends up linking in with another segment, which we'll get into later on. And the boy gets kidnapped, and then look around, and then you see something for a glimpse, which is why I had to watch that scene again. Because the second time I watched that scene again, I couldn't see anything. I thought it was like a
Are you
Mandela effect.
are you talking about the Krampus creature?
Yeah, I couldn't see it the second time round in the the Christmas tree scene. I was like, fuck. Like I saw it. I literally just seen it a second ago. Can't see it now. And then before that the father gets shot. Then the kid disappears.
Well, he doesn't get shot. He gets cut across the belly by the hook on the chain, but it happens so quickly that he thinks he got shot.
Well, I thought he got shot. Looked like bullets
You
were
thought Krampus is just out there with a gun?
That's what it looked. It looked like bullets from my distance. It was like pew pew. I was like,
Are you naughty or nice?
and then I
Oh my
was
god, now I absolutely want to see this. I want to see a comedy holiday movie of Santa Claus and the Krampus being like a buddy cop movie called Naughty and Nice.
that's make it like cop out.
Yeah.
But
Well, I hate cop out, but maybe
I'm not saying make it exactly like cop out, but make it like cop out.
yeah, where they just don't get along at all.
Yeah. Or what's the other one? Is it cookies and something? Cookies and it's on Netflix. Is it cookies and cream?
I
Is that
don't think I've seen that one.
that's a good one. That was made in the States.
Oh,
That's
one that I like is oh, what is it? The Other Guys with
yeah,
Will
yeah.
Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
I think Cookies and Creams is with Russell Peters.
Hmm.
Um. So yeah, and then obviously, uh, the daughter and the mother end up carrying the father inside this church.
Yeah, I think it's a like an abandoned church or just closed down for the night or something.
No, it's like I think it's like an old-fashioned church that's no longer open because it doesn't look like as if it'd been open for ages.
Yeah.
Ends up Krampus ends up finding them. They end up hiding in the cupboard or something that's like a cupboard.
Well, it's a confessional.
Yeah, well, confessional. Uh, then they end up well, the mother ends up getting killed. The daughter ends up going to the old great auntie's house and then turns into Krampus and then kills her off screen. Which I quite like that scene and a good way to end that story.
Yeah.
Not segment. Then the third one we're going to be in about the little African American family. That obviously starts off with them going for a Christmas tree. The kid ends up disappearing. They can't find the kid. Then a variation of the child comes out, which they don't even realise has been took over by. How would you pronounce it? A child? A
Changeling.
changeling.
Well, so he's not taken over by, he's replaced. So like the kid somehow was kept somewhere in the forest, and then the changeling made itself look like the child and stole his clothes.
Then obviously they go home. Everything seems normal at this point until obviously dinner time. The child eats more spaghetti than what an average male would eat.
Yeah.
He's had 2 plates. I'm proud of my boy. He's only about 6 year old. Um, and then later on, he ends up stabbing his dad in the hand with scissors. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. So then he ends up getting the belt, has a smile on his face, as if he's like, "Oh, I'm into being whipped." You shouldn't be. You're only 6. Then obviously they go to bed. The dad of the parents have an argue, so that he ends up going to sleep, ends up waking up having a drink, hit the bottle of whiskey. The mother ends up going into the bedroom, not or gets a phone call about it. Oh, something's took over your son. I don't buy this. Don't phone me again. And she thinks, you know what, I may as well just research it. Stuff happens, and it ends. Then you, as I said earlier, the dad's on the drink, goes in the kitchen, and you see the son crawling against the wall, up on the sill.
Mhm.
And then we see nothing after that. Then we see the mother walking into the living room, and then you see the dad's body in the corner near the Christmas tree. Which, damn, that would have been a good death scene.
Oh, why actually watching it happen?
Yeah, that's the disappointing part of that because I think if oh, so then she ends up having to try and take us the the son's replacement back. I'll just use the word replacement for this. Um, to try and take it back to the woods where we're getting the Christmas tree from. Then she ends up shooting the guy that whose farm it is.
Mhm.
Asks the bunch of them for a son back, and somehow she managed to get them back. She actually managed to get
Yeah,
them.
it seems to be that with the guy being gone, the changelings are just free to roam the land again without him having some sort of power over them. So, as like a thank you to the mother, they gave her child back.
Which is quite weird, really.
Yeah.
Well, they were actually taking over his farm, not him taking over their farm. Um, then we got the fourth one, which is interesting because in my head it it made sense, but it didn't make sense. Santa Claus ends up the one of the elves refuses to eat a cookie, calls Mrs. Claus a slut. Uh,
Yeah.
good slag. Um, then oh, you've been naughty. Gets his hand slashed from in between his not his index, the third finger, whatever you call that one, the middle finger, quite deep, almost nearly his entire hand. That the blood goes everywhere. Then for somehow, obviously he dies, or one of them dies. Well, he dies. Then later on, he comes back as a zombie, kills him off again. And later on, Santa goes into the elevator. Then all the rest of the elves turn into zombies. Goes on a
Hmm.
killing spree. Smashes one of them with the stick through the head. And then later on after that, goes back to the beginning scene. Then the gates open. There's Krampus, which is only the last 4 minutes of the film. So man, that disappointed me. That um, it did, and then it turns out, oh, I'm not Krampus, and it just ends up being the fucking guy from not Shatner himself, but the other person that said "fuck Christmas." Ends up
Yep, Storm and Norman.
that ends up being the fucking Santa Claus that ends up killing people and has like a massacre and ends up getting shot by police. So they're all the segments of this uh, film.
Yep.
Quite an interesting film.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
I enjoyed it up until the last part.
Really? I loved the last part.
Well, I like the twist, but I just feel like the Krampus scene should have been a little bit longer.
Well, to be fair, Krampus also did get its own segment.
No, I know that, but I just mean the fight scene should have been a bit longer between him and Santa.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like they could have extended it maybe a little bit longer, but I think they were trying to showcase um, just how quickly this was an actual person and not actually Krampus. And they were trying to show like if this were real, then obviously the fight would have gone on longer.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So first segment, no, we'll do the middle segment. We'll go with Shatner's part.
Shatner's part, so not including what happens at the end, but just William Shatner.
In the end, no,
So with everything involving the radio host, for me, I enjoyed all of that. So I think I'm going to give that segment a 7.
I think with it being Shatner, I'm gonna go 7.5. I was thinking about pushing it to an 8 because obviously that's the only. I think that's the only famous person that I know within the film itself. I can't think of any of the other actors, not even the person that played the grandma in segment 2. I just know she was just played by some elderly woman. Segment 1,
So the which is segment? Oh, the kids trapped in the school.
yes.
I'm going to give that one. I'm going to give that one a 6. I liked it. I didn't think it was amazing. Um, but it was a bit creepy at times.
I think for the creepy expectation, I'm gonna give it close to a 7, so I'll give it a 6.8. So not far off yours. Um, segment 2,
The is that the family that goes into the tree?
that's the rich family.
Oh, the rich family with the one involving Krampus.
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna give that one a 6.5.
I think I'm going to give that one a 7.1. Now, the third one, which is obviously the woods scene,
The
uh,
the one with the changeling.
the one with the changeling.
I'm gonna give that one a 6.5.
I think just because the dad scene is killed off screen, I think I'm just going to give it a 6. Because I think if his death scene was shown on screen, just like you get to see the elves getting, stick being put through the head or stuff like
Mhm.
that's as if that's as graphic as they can do, and then you just see the aftermath of the dad being killed.
Well, I think the reason that they did that was because of the fact that they didn't want to fully reveal what the changeling looks like when it fully attacks.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I'll still stick with a 6 though.
Yeah.
Then the fourth one, which is
The Santa segment, I am gonna give that one an 8.
I'll give it 7.6. And an overall rating,
I think overall I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'll go with 7.6. So yeah, uh, would I watch it again? Probably next Christmas.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I'm not going to watch it again this Christmas because I think it's pointless watching the same movie twice.
Yeah.